Welcome to the Call Center Crew podcast, where we educate, empower, and help you execute in the everyday grind that is contact center. We bring you the expertise and success from industry professionals around the world. Listen in or watch weekly every Wednesday at callcentercrew.com. Hey guys, welcome to the Call Center Crew podcast. This is your host, Landon Rich. Today we have a special guest, one of my good friends from the accounting world and the call center world, Joseph Beckman. Joseph, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me here.
So Joseph, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder. So Joseph and I, we worked together at Focus Services, a BPO out of Northern Utah. Joseph was in the accounting department for how many years?
Just over 6 years.
6 years. And so Joseph and I work close together, both on the operations side and also on the software side. But Joseph, go ahead and introduce yourself, kind of how you got into accounting, why accounting. Most people, for me personally, I wouldn't choose accounting. But yeah, introduce yourself, how you got into the space, and then your time at Focus.
Okay. Been an accountant now for probably 9 years. Got my degrees from the University of Phoenix, bachelor's and master's. Kind of interesting story about how I got in the accounting. I was actually going to school to become a nurse.
Nice.
And the wait was horrible.
What wait? The wait for?
The wait to get into the program.
Oh, to get into the program. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lottery. So it wasn't based upon grades or anything. It was just hey, pick out of the hat. And so my wife said, hey, why don't you try something with math? You've always liked math, do accounting. And so I did, and as you can say, the rest is history. I've worked in car dealerships. I've worked for very small companies up to when I started working for Focus. And my last company before Focus was going through a downsizing, and so I was looking for something else and interviewed over there, and they hired me. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people, when you think of accountants, it's somebody who's always wanted to be an accountant, or always they're like, hey, I want to be in accounting. I'm going to accounting, right? So that's interesting. Nurse to accounting.
Nurse to accounting. Yeah.
That's good. And so what are you doing right now?
So right now I'm a controller at Davis Behavioral Health. So similar, except for a little bit different. Accounting's kind of accounting.
Yeah.
But instead of doing private accounting, I'm doing governmental, non-for-profit accounting.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, today, guys, we're going to bring you, we're going to be discussing a few different things with accounting and more specifically payroll inside of the contact center. No matter if it's an internal call center at a company or if it's a business process outsourcer, every business is going to have some type of accounting. And when you're dealing with agents and calling floors, there's a few different things in our experience that we used at Focus Services that we want to help bring to the industry and see maybe everybody's already doing it, maybe not, right? So if this can help someone, then great. So first off, as a controller at Focus Services, what was a typical? Did your life run basically on 2-week intervals every 15 days paycheck? Was it bigger than that, or was it just 2 weeks, same stuff? And what did some of that stuff entail?
So as far as like the 2-week process, it was the same over and over again. I didn't take it as a 2-week because we always had a plan for it. So it was more of, okay, in the next month, what's going to happen with payroll? Are there any changes coming up?
Ramping if a client says, hey, I need 100 seats.
We got to be aware of that in advance so we know, okay, am I accounting for all these people when I do payroll when that finally hits?
Right.
And so we were usually looking, 2 months out. Okay, what's going to affect us in the next 8 weeks, the next 12 weeks? So it was always nice to plan in advance. If you're running at a 2-week period, you get really stuck in those 2 weeks, and then you don't really figure out what could have happened to make it better for the next 2 weeks. So you always plan a little bit more.
Excellent. What software did you guys use? I was never actually in the nitty-gritty with the accounting department, but what was your process and what software did you guys use?
So the software we used, Sage 50 was our main accounting software, where we put all the invoices into as far as our financials go. The main accounting software we used, no joke, was Excel.
Okay.
It's where we compiled all the data and then we sent it to our third party to process.
Gotcha.
And so from our end, our main payroll software was Excel.
Keeping track. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So my time over at Focus, so I spent roughly 6 years in the operations side of Focus Services. Right. 3 of those years were spent here in Utah in the States, and then 3 years was almost 3 years was over in the Philippines, right? We're for Focus Direct. Did you guys do much with offshore? You specifically as a controller, was that another?
As far as payroll goes, I didn't. I did a lot with the invoicing side of things, so the operational side of things. But as far as payroll went, it was ran there. It was handled in country.
Gotcha. Okay. So I want to talk about a big thing that was that came out from an operator, right? From, let's say, a director or a supervisor, is every payroll we had, and let me be clear, this definitely was not something that was specific to Focus Services. I think that this, I've heard from other BPOs in the Philippines and the States, definitely not just for Focus, right? But for other call centers and agents in general, right? Every payday, there's tons of things that go into an agent payroll, right? You've got hours, you've got hours worked, then you have
like efficiencies, bonuses,
manual hours,
the new hire hours.
There's tons of different things that went into it. And nonetheless, every paycheck, every pay period, there were a number of agents that would come to me as a supervisor, as a director, say, yet again, or hey, my paycheck, you paid me. Typically, it was you always shorted me money, right? But so, talk to me a little bit about the discrepancies that happen inside of, we'll just say, call center accounting, right? Not general to Focus, but call center accounting, and why were those discrepancies? Why did they come up? And then we'll talk about, obviously, what happens because of that. And I've got a neat little term here called the Snowball of Death that I want to talk about.
I saw that. That was it. I was wondering where you're going to go with it.
Yeah.
So as far as discrepancies with payroll, like you said, when you involve multiples, hundreds and hundreds of agents, you're going to have things that get missed.
Yep.
We never did it on purpose. It was never intentional. But
of course.
It's the collaboration between the agent, their boss, the director, and payroll. Anything gets dropped between those links, something's going to get forgotten. Especially when you have different sites that are doing it differently. For example, we had one site, their payroll, they had what's called a shift differential based upon hours worked on certain days and if they hit their efficiency. So there's a lot of metrics that went into it.
Right.
Well, sometimes somebody's computer would go down for the whole day. Well, we wanted to add them in. It wasn't their fault. Yeah. Well, if that's not given to us as a payroll, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And so...
And you're talking agent communication to a supervisor,
correct.
Supervisor to the floor director in an email to accounting.
Correct.
And one little miss or one little mistype of a zero or a decimal, and there it goes.
Yeah, and then vanished.
Yeah.
No more paycheck.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we really tried to do, or I tried to instill in our payroll individuals, was the communication side of things. Everybody always thinks when their payroll's wrong, it's payroll's fault.
Yep.
I mean, without a doubt, it doesn't matter who forgot or whatever. It's
the company's
fault.
Trying to save money. They're not wanting to pay me my money. Yeah.
Exactly. And so what I tried teaching the assistants that I had over payroll is, hey, communicate with the agent. Always be, I don't want to say forgiving, but and not always fall on the sword, but you want to let them know you're gonna fix this. You know what? We're here to help you. I'll do whatever I can to make this better for you. And so it was really nice working with those agents and letting them know, instead of going to the director or going to supervisor or whatever and having them filter it down. It was great going direct line to the agent saying, hey, right. We're going to help you. And most of the time they come in all hot and bothered. When you said, I understand, I'm going to help you, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It just really
easy.
Alleviated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were wrong. Sometimes we were wrong, and you just had to work with them on that.
Yeah. I think common theme there is just communication, over communication, especially with that. No one's going to be angry if they sent one too many emails reminding somebody to get something done, right?
And exactly. Follow up with them. Say, hey, just want to make sure you understood what we talked about, what we did. Oh, yeah. go the little extra mile.
Yep, I like that. So let's get on this topic of that I self-named here, the Snowball of Death. The Snowball of Death in call center accounting.
Sure.
And then after we go through this snowball that happens, I want to talk about